It was a cold, dark night in the small town of Milfield. The only noise that could be heard was the sound of crickets chirping in the nearby fields. A young couple, Sarah and Jack, were driving down the deserted road that led to their cabin in the woods. Sarah was feeling uneasy and kept looking over her shoulder every now and then. She couldn't explain why, but something felt off. As they drove down the winding road, they noticed a man walking on the side of the road. He was wearing ragged clothes and appeared to be injured. Sarah asked Jack to stop the car so they could help the man. As they approached the man, they noticed that his clothes were covered in blood. They could see deep gashes on his hands and arms. Sarah and Jack tried to assist the man, but he suddenly lunged at them, his eyes full of rage. Fearing for their lives, Sarah and Jack got back in the car and drove away as quickly as they could. They were shaken by the incident and felt as if they were being followed. They couldn't shake off the feeling that someone or something was watching them. As they pulled up to their cabin, they noticed something strange. The windows were all open, even though they had been closed when they left. Sarah and Jack cautiously entered the cabin, searching for any sign of a break-in or intruder, but they found nothing. As the night progressed, strange things began to happen. They heard footsteps outside, but when they looked out the window, no one was there. The lights flickered on and off, and they could feel a cold breeze blowing through the cabin, even though the windows were closed. Sarah and Jack tried to rationalize what was happening, but they knew that something was not right. They decided to leave the cabin and go back to town. As they were leaving, they saw something move in the woods. It was a figure wearing tattered clothes with blood all over it. Sarah and Jack froze in terror. The figure started to move towards them, its eyes glowing in the darkness. They started to run as fast as they could, but they couldn't escape the figure that chased them. As they ran, they realized that they were not alone. They saw other figures emerging from the woods, also covered in blood. They were closing in on them, depriving them of any chance of escape. Sarah and Jack started to scream for help, but it was too late. The figures attacked them with sharp claws and teeth, tearing into their flesh. They fought back, but there were too many of them. As they lay on the ground, bleeding and bruised, they watched in horror as the figures disappeared into the woods. Sarah and Jack were left there, alone and defenseless, with no hope of survival. The next morning, the police arrived at the cabin responding to a call from a concerned neighbor who reported strange noises. They found Sarah and Jack's bodies, torn apart and covered in blood. It was clear that they had been attacked by some kind of wild animal, but the cause remained a mystery. Years later, some locals claimed that the figures Sarah and Jack saw in the woods were the spirits of the former residents of Milfield, who were brutally murdered years ago. They said that their spirits seek revenge on those who trespass on their land. The cabin remained abandoned and untouched, serving as a chilling reminder of the horrors that had occurred on that cold, dark night in Milfield.